This is a Dragon Blazer production.
Coming soon to a podcast near you.
It's not easy to do what you did. You made my men look like a bunch of minimum wage mall cops. That's hurtful. Would you like to tell me where you received your training? Afghanistan? Chechnya? Who are you?
I have sacrificed much to achieve peace. Thor, through your arrogance and stupidity, you have opened these peaceful realms and innocent lives to the horror and devastation of war.
You are a vain, greedy, cruel boy. And you are an old man and a fool!
You're unworthy!
Father.
I now take from you your power! And I cast you out!
Please open your eyes.
Oh no, this is Earth, isn't it?
Where did it come from?
Your ancestors called it magic. And you call it science. I come from a place where they're one and the same.
He has disobeyed his king. His fate is in his own hands now.
I will end this.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Coming Soon to a Podcast Near You. I am, of course, your host, Stevie Blazenson. And as always, I have my co-host, Xavier Foster. I'm not sure where to go with this. Loki, Xavier, trickster god thingy.
It's okay, take your time.
No, yeah, that's good. And his friend, Barley.
Yes.
Hello there.
And
All right.
His greeting was very much, I don't know. If you've actually no, I don't. It's not the same TikTok. But anyways, yes. He is a disembodied voice. He might be there. He might be over there. But he could even be right there. He could be you. He could be me. Or he could be underneath your bed.
That was a very clever reference. I am sitting on my own.
Alright, we're watching Thor.
So I don't
a
think
movie that was... Ladies and gentlemen, he sits on his bed. But we watched Thor for our fourth application of the Marvel Cinematic Universe watch thingy. This movie was released, I believe, in 2009. Is it 2008 or 2009? I remember seeing this in a drive-in theater.
A drive-in, eh?
Yeah.
Neat.
Fun times.
Here, I'll look up its release date.
It was released 2011. A little off.
Really? And Iron Man was 2008?
8, yes. And this movie came out a couple years after Iron Man, so we are a couple
Interesting.
episodes into the. Did you think all the Marvel movies just dropped at the same time?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, no, but I didn't know this. I didn't know that the earlier movies were came out like so long after each other. I mean, I guess not because like
they only released like maybe one or two Marvel movies a year at that time.
well, there was also frequent points where there's Marvel movies coming out like three movies a year.
Yeah, but not in the early days.
Well, clearly. But anyways, this was Thor, not Thor the Dark World or Thor Ragnarok or Levin Thunder. But this was the first and original movie, and I don't remember the Dark World, and I haven't watched Love and Thunder. I remember really liking Ragnarok, and I remember not a lot of people liking Ragnarok because they thought Thor was just really dumb in that movie.
I loved Ragnarok. A lot of people do love it. It's either loved or I guess the people that preferred the Dark World, which is not many, preferred that over Ragnarok because Ragnarok got a little bit more comedic. But I loved Ragnarok. I'm fine with Thor being comedy.
Yeah. I like it when, like, stupid strong characters are used more for comedy than being stupid strong in a bunch of stories about, like, where it's more than just strength, it's more, like, story-oriented. Because if we go into the whole power scaling aspect of Marvel, then it everything just jumbles up. But, like, it's not anime, so if you keep working with like power scaling, then you're gonna ruin it for yourself and everybody.
Let's see.
But anyways, let's get into this movie, because I do not have any useless trivia because I haven't been doing that lately. I've been here is the secret of how to not do useless trivia. Step 1. Set up 2 different D&D sessions online with a total of 8 people, not including yourself. Step 2, I don't know, just be an artist who does that in his free time, and sometimes screw with the harmonica, because I do have one of those as well. Anyways, let's go on with the synopsis. Jared, what did you think of this movie?
Personally, I thought the Thor movie was pretty darn good. I think there was a lot of very clever, plot points in it. Like, there's one part that sort of stood out. Was, when they're like, hey, his name's actually Donald Blake and he's crazy. And they, S.H.I.E.L.D. noticed that the data was falsified. And they still let him go anyway, so I thought that was definitely something interesting.
I think that was...
Of course, I'm probably just stupid, but I don't really know why they let him go.
I think that was to point out that as much of dicks the S.H.I.E.L.D. was trying to be, or being, they weren't actually bad guys. I think that was the point of that, where, Coulson's not exactly a bad guy, so he let him deal with his lie. Because he knew that they weren't actually dangerous or, bad people, so... And I think they probably also sort of knew that Thor... I think they also sort of knew that Thor was actually... They probably had more knowledge about where Thor came from and everything. So maybe a little confused that he didn't have his powers. But, S.H.I.E.L.D. is all about that, metahuman stuff and everything. So, because this may...
Bless you.
This may be more of an insight that I had because I've watched all the movies and I've watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything like that. So I know what type of people Agent Coulson is. I know what kind of people S.H.I.E.L.D. is. They're the good guys. So now at this time, S.H.I.E.L.D. was still kind of quiet. You know, they're still like in the background, so you don't know as much. But we've seen, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. is the good people. So
See, that does make sense.
yeah.
Oh yeah, this movie does introduce what's his name? Hawkeye.
They don't call him Hawkeye. They call him Agent Barton.
Well, he's Hawkeye.
You're correct. He is a Hawkeye. That is correct.
Yes, that is very, 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 very true.
One of my favorite lines was when he's like, "Hey, you better call this now, Coulson, or because I'm starting to root for this guy."
Yeah, I think that's pretty funny.
I like that line. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, let's get on with the synopsis, and I have an ocarina.
That's exactly what I was about.
I don't know.
That's exactly what I was about to say. So essentially, Thor is pretty much about Thor getting stripped of his powers because he's a little power hungry at the beginning. He's a bit of a dick, little bit of a dick there.
Run away, little princess.
And his father decides to strip him of his powers. Essentially, Odin did what he did to get Thor to appreciate his responsibilities. I think that's pretty clear, right? He wanted he wanted Thor to appreciate his responsibilities, to grow up, essentially. So he threw him on Midgard, or as we know it as Earth, stripped his powers until he was worthy enough to grab the mighty hammer of Thor. Now, the thing that does kind of confuse me, is that whoever wields the hammer has the power of Thor. But the power of Thor is just Thor.
What's Thor's real name?
Thor Odin, or is it Thor?
Donald Blake. What's his real name?
Thor.
Was his name just named at was it his destiny, or was Loki just said to be like that guy on the sidelines, to be, I don't know, overshadowed by the guy whose literal name is the name of the weapon that he's competing to get.
Yeah.
Not favoritism much.
I don't know. I just feel like they should have used a different way to describe the powers of Thor instead of just the power of Thor. It's like he's the power of himself.
Like, I don't know, God of Thunder.
Yeah. I feel like they could have come up
Perhaps.
with a name. They have a name for the damn hammer, for the love of God. They couldn't come up with a different name for the power.
Yeah, which is Mjolnir, by the way, not Mjolnir. Mjolnir.
Meow meow. Meow meow.
Oh yeah, that's a
it's meow
Terraria
meow.
weapon.
It's
By
meow
the
meow.
way, I just beat the Moon Lord. And I know you don't care
Oh,
about
the
Terraria
Mjolnir.
because
I don't
you're
care.
a Minecraft fanatic.
Meow meow.
Yes, the
No.
meow meow.
Well, I say the meow meow because that's what Kat Dennings in the movie Thor says. That's what she couldn't pronounce Mjolnir, so she calls out. What are you talking about, meow meow? Did you not catch that? That she called it meow meow.
I don't recall the word Mjolnir even being used in any of the Marvel movies. I know that the hammer's name is Mjolnir, but I didn't know that like it was ever mentioned in any of the movies.
They
Like,
named it.
that's its name.
They named it. They mentioned the name quite a few times in this one movie.
I don't know. Well, I always thought that like everybody just called the hammer Thor's hammer or something like that.
They
But,
may
like, no, it's-
later on, but in this movie, they definitely named it. They even he was looking at the old book from Norse mythology, and they even showed the hammer in the book that had the proper spelling Mjolnir for it.
Ah.
Yeah, they named it they mentioned it a few times. And he named it himself when he's explaining to the humans, what it's called, Mjolnir.
I've been watching too much South Park. I'm sorry, guys.
and that's where Kat Dennings was like, meow meow.
Yes.
So, but anyway, so he decides to sacrifice himself, which makes him worthy to wield the power of Thor for himself. And
yes.
He goes back, and I found Loki's plan interesting. Like, Loki is like just messing with everyone. He goes to the Frost Giants, in Jotunheim, and knowing that he is a child from Jotunheim, he tricks the leader to come in to try to kill Odin, just so Loki can actually kill that guy and save Odin. Which makes
it's like one of those toxic. Huh? What'd you say?
It's kind of.
Say to me.
He seems to be suffering from a little bit of jealousy of Thor, maybe. Thor's always been, I think, the older one, the one who was supposed to be the heir. And so I guess he's kind of trying to prove himself in a way to his father.
Well, I think he also realizes that, and he was realizing it beforehand, there's jealousy there, but I think it's more he recognizes that Thor is Odin's actual son and he is not. Even though they seem to do a great job of trying to make him as important as Thor, but he does notice just at the surface that, they don't look at him the same way they look at Thor.
Oh yeah, by the way, this is actually the first villain in the MCU, I think, that is reoccurring. Like, we've got the Abomination, we've got the Ironmonger, and we've got the guys whose name I can't remember from Iron Man 2. This Loki reoccurs all the way until Avengers Infinity War. Although he's still continues to be a relevant character, although in the show Loki. He has his own show.
Well, actually, there is another character. Now, Loki's the first one that does come back, which we haven't got to yet. But actually, Abomination does come back in the MCU. So he's actually the first person who shows up as a recurring villain. Because he shows up in She-Hulk. He shows up in... do you want to know where all he shows up? I can tell you pretty much, I think all of them that he shows up in.
Abomination or Loki? Because
Abomination.
Okay, the Abomination. Yes, go ahead.
He shows up in Shang-Chi. In The Legend of the Ten Rings.
I've heard of Shang-Chi. I have not watched it yet.
Oh, it's really good. I can't wait till we get there.
Oh yeah, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years from now, you'll finally get to watch Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it's a slow process. But it does. But I like the movies that we watch because of the podcast. Not you. You're just a. We'll try to get you and your brother in it. By the way, yeah, he's Ethan's brother. If you watched our
I'm aware.
If you watched our episode 3 of Star Wars podcast, that's him. Although not him. This is Barley. This is Jared, and he has facial hair, and he's probably under your bed. Wait.
That's not creepy at all.
Don't pull my cover, for Pete's sake. Blow my cover, sorry.
He disappeared.
while he's heading to your bed.
That's it. There's no way a 6 foot tall man can fit under there. There's like too many things.
Magic.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
let's real quickly. I'm not sure where he is.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Sorry. He disconnected me for some reason.
We just
I thought you
assumed
were
you
under
were
my
trying.
bed for a second.
Yep, we were just assuming you were under his bed. Alright, so let's go with the. This movie stars Chris Hemsworth. Here's a fun bit of trivia. Guess who Chris Hemsworth was, who the top 2 people that the Marvel was looking at to play Thor when they casted Chris Hemsworth.
Leonardo
I know this
DiCaprio.
one. It was actually Tom Middleston, I think. The guy who played
Incorrect.
Loki.
Incorrect. The two people they were looking at to play Thor was Chris Hemsworth and his brother Liam Hemsworth.
Oh.
Oh.
They both came from Australia and competed for the same role.
I see.
Well, here's also
So
an
he's the
interesting.
So Liam is the.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
I was literally just. I was making a dumb reference no one would get.
Alright, so another interesting piece of trivia is that Tom Hiddleston actually auditioned for the role of Thor at first, but he didn't get it because the guys at Marvel were like, nah, we'd like you to play Loki instead. So that's where my incorrect answer came from. You were curious.
And he's been acting as him for the last apparently almost 12 years.
I think it worked out. I mean, I love him as Loki.
Oh, yeah, he was very. Oh, yeah, he's a very, very good character. Which, speaking of which,
Yeah.
I believe that we've talked the synopsis enough. So let's go over the individual characters. Thor. Thor's the main character. He's blonde hair, and he has a hammer.
He does have
He's like Mario, which means he's like Luigi because Luigi has lightning powers sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Yes.
And he has a hammer, and he can jump really high. Now we just need Luigi to like fling the hammer hard enough to.
He
like,
can technically
propel up.
fly. He can technically fly when he does with the hammer. Well, he uses. So I believe the in-canon explanation of how he flies is he throws the hammer and then he holds on to the hammer, and the hammer is essentially what helps him fly. I don't know.
That's interesting.
I don't know if he can fly on his own.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I like that he was still, strong. These things happen.
I guess so.
Uh-oh, we lost Xavier. So, what are your thoughts on Thor? As in the character of Thor?
Well, personally, I think that it was very neat how Thor changed as a person. I always like those type of movies where, the main character starts out as kind of a jerk or something, but then, he or she changes into a better person.
Right. Yes. That's always a good trait for a movie.
Yep.
I like Thor. He's in he's one of the more fun characters. I mean, honestly, I like most of the casting in the Marvel movies. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better Iron Man. But yeah, I think Chris Hemsworth does pretty well on Thor. The next character I would go with is Jane Foster, who's played by Padme Amidala.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Natalie Portman.
Yes, and she's sticking with our trope of questionable crushes. Although this one doesn't kill children and preach about being democratic. Okay, maybe he kills children. We don't know about that. But he doesn't actively try to maliciously. I don't know if Anakin maliciously does. No, it was kind of malicious, actually.
It was straight up revenge.
I think it's safe to say he doesn't kill children.
Yeah. Or even if he does, he's not as bad as Anakin Skywalker.
No, there's not a lot of people that are as bad as Anakin Skywalker.
But
he's the.
But still, not only
he leads space Nazis. He becomes the leader of space Nazis.
Pretty much, yeah. But still, Thor, with what she had to go by, Natalie Portman, still questionable crush. I mean, not specifically on her, but like whatever her character's name is.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, yeah, you know, in fairness, now I'm not gay, but have you seen Thor? I mean, can you really knock her for
good point.
Kind of falling for Thor? I mean,
man. Seems pretty gay to me.
I mean, I'm not gay, but I can admit that Thor is kind of a good-looking dude, as far as dudes go.
He's a
good-looking dude. As a quote from Sonic the Hedgehog himself, you don't need to be gay to understand a man's beauty.
Exactly.
I remember that one.
But,
yes, Sonic the Hedgehog also said your opinion doesn't count if your profile picture is of an anime. But
I guess it counts me out.
No, wait, you're a shark. Anyways, let's move on to.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Let's move on to Loki.
Played by Tom Hiddleston, and probably the greatest villain in the MCU as of so far.
Yeah, we've got some really good villains later on, but yeah, Loki is one of those characters. Well, you'll see later with his real shtick has yet to come. But yes, he has conquered Asgard very, very temporarily. But he's kind of the antagonist of the movie, although unlike the previous villains, actually Abomination apparently doesn't, but he does not die. The Ironmonger and both the villains from the previous Iron Man movies do die.
Well, I would like to. I would say that Loki is definitely the best villain, but number one, he stops being a villain after a while, and number two, now that they've made Daredevil canon, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is pretty freaking amazing. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Do you not know
Yes,
who
I
Kingpin is?
absolutely know who Kingpin is. He's a Spider-Man villain.
Spider-Man and Daredevil, yes.
Both.
He's
I've known him from Spider-Man comics and from that animated Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse. Spider.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Daredevil is a spin-off of from Spider-Man. He started out. Also, a fun fact. Do you know what comic book / cartoon was a parody of Daredevil? While we're on the subject.
I don't know.
No.
No idea? The Teenage
Sorry,
Mutant
I
Ninja
don't
Turtles is a parody, in a way. It's meant to be an actual continuation of Daredevil. So,
What?
okay. First off, Daredevil's villains is called the Hand. Okay? In the Turtles comics and cartoon, they're called the Foot Clan.
I didn't mean to do that.
And do you know how Daredevil was? Do you know how Daredevil became Daredevil? Like,
I
how
don't
he got
even know
his
who
powers?
Daredevil is.
Really?
He's a blind guy that has like a stick or something, I think. Or is
He
it
does-
a sword?
he
I mean, most blind people have sticks.
Use a stick. So, Daredevil was involved in a
Think about it,
wreck
most people have
where
sticks.
this like
Continue. That was bad.
where this substance got on his face and eye or whatever, and because of it, it made him blind. However, it enhanced all of his other senses. So he has like super hearing, super touch, super everything. Like the only thing he is blind, but essentially because of his abilities, he can kind of see through like echolocation and stuff because of his abilities. So he's a blind superhero, and he's also a lawyer. And it was like some kind of ooze that crashed into him. Well, in the Turtles comic, they suggest that same ooze is what gets on the turtles and creates the turtles.
Oh.
Like, the whole thing is a complete parody, or like not parody, or sort of. It all comes from Daredevil. They were making kind of fun of Daredevil in a way, or homaging it, or something like that. So yeah, there's actual ties to Daredevil with that. Which this would be a lot cooler if you guys knew or if Xavier knew who the hell Daredevil
Yeah,
was.
I don't know who a lot of people are. Anyways,
Well,
Good old
There's not
Daredevil.
you have some research to do now. I'm going to need you to go on the Disney Plus app and start watching the Daredevil
as I've
TV
said
show.
though,
It's
I've got
fantastic.
like again two DMs. Like that, you're part of one of them. I mean, Jared was going to be part of one of them, but he backed out because he's in college and he got a lot of crap to do.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to be in college
I
eventually
like
this year.
Boots.
So that'll be fun. I'll still try to do podcasts, and with the changed setup that we've been working with, that should be a lot easier. But anyway, aside from Loki, there's not really any relevant characters. Even like Odin.
Odin is played by Anthony Hopkins. Do you know what other major role Anthony Hopkins
I
has played?
have no idea, man.
Jared, are you more cultured?
I'm not entirely sure, no. Goodness gracious, Xavier.
I'm sorry.
I think I know why he's laughing so maniacally, but I don't want to assume, so I'm just going to stay quiet.
Just take a guess.
I really don't know why, or what other roles Anthony Hopkins played.
He's played in a lot of different roles, but his most famous role, I would argue, is playing Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs and that series of movies.
Oh, neat.
Nothing? Do you guys know Silence of the Lambs? Ooh, that's a great movie.
No.
I don't know if I consider it horror, otherwise I would suggest maybe we should watch that as the horror. It's a fantastic movie.
Anyways, though, Odin is he's kind of the king of Asgard, king, whatever.
Odin is the equivalent of Zeus in Greek.
Interesting. He doesn't really play much of a part in this movie, majorly. In fact, his role throughout the movies, I believe, at least with Ragnarok, because that's the only one I remember watching, aside from this one, is pretty, I don't know, balanced as a supporting role, but like also kind of a damsel in distress in a way. I don't know. Anyways, I think the last character that is genuinely relevant is the guy with the bridge, the guy who turns a sword and creates a bridge.
Heimdall.
Does the thing.
Heimdall.
Yes.
Heimdall.
He stucks a sword, twists it, and does a thing.
Heimdall.
The ice giants, who are, well, basically the equivalent of one of the previous Marvel MCU villains. Kind of shallow, but like you're not really supposed to. They're supposed to be shallow. You're supposed to not really have any sympathy for them, so that when they die and when they get defeated, you have a sense of satisfaction more for the heroes, and not like lack of satisfaction for the villain. That's.
Or rather, they don't necessarily die at the end, I suppose, but Thor saves them by destroying the Bifrost, which Loki rigged to blow up their planet or whatnot.
Correct.
It was a sacrifice, which I'm pretty sure doesn't really matter. Which I don't.
It does matter.
Does it?
Like in the sequel or in the second one, Dark World, I remember the explanation of why Jane Foster's not in there is because he can't see her because of the Bifrost movie. But then he shows up in the Avengers, so I can't remember how that works. It's been a while.
Alright. Okay, anyway.
I may have just forgotten that in that explanation.
Anyways, though, what about our movie ratings? What
movie ratings
out of between 0 and 10? You can give this a 10, but you cannot give it a 0. What do you rate this movie?
I would say it's a solid 9.5 out of 10.
9.5. I think I'll.
Yep.
I give it a 7.5. Pretty decent. A decent 7.5. 7.5 out of 10 tasers.
Okay.
What about you, Father?
I am giving this 8.5 yummies.
All right. What about?
I like this. I think it's really good.
I have some complaints about the movie, but like they're very minor complaints. I remember during the movie like wondering, wait, it's the end, but it feels like not. It doesn't feel like a satisfying conflict, but like the more I thought about it, the more this is a satisfying conflict. Like the conflict's already done, like the drama's done. Like we already got a sacrifice ready, and we're ready to move on with the MCU. And this is probably more of this movie is a huge setup as well for like the Avengers, as you'll see in later. But like, but yeah, I think, but yeah. Anyways, right, Rotten Tomato. Do you know how the Rotten Tomato thing works, Jared?
Not really, no.
So there's a critic meter and an audience meter. The critics are specially meant to judge. There's also less critics than there are audiences. They give reviews that are either good reviews or bad reviews. And there's a percentage that you are to guess. Among the critic reviews, what percentage of them are good reviews? And among the audience as well, what percentage of them are bad reviews? I think this is I think 79 for critics and 88 for audience.
Okay. What about you, Jared?
I think maybe around 7 to 8 for critics, probably the same for the audience as well.
I think it's going to be about 85% for the critics, and I want to say 91 for audience.
Okay, I'm gonna need to write this down because there's 3 different people. 78 for Jared. 79 and 88 for me. And what in 91 for you, Dad?
85 and 91.
Okay. Alright. Let's look at the answers.
So it's almost identical. For the critics, 77%.
So that's closer on Jared.
For audience, 76%.
Also closer on Jared. Jared, you win.
Oh, neat.
Nothing, because we don't do anything.
Woo! Yeah, baby. That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
I want a cookie.
Yes.
I would love a cookie right about now.
Me too.
All right, well, I think now seems like a good time to talk about our sponsor, Anchor. We'll be back.
And we're back. And unfortunately, Jared is not. But he faded away. He's probably under your bed, actually. But he had to get off. We're continuing this without him because all we have left is the Cinemantra.
You think he got
Speaking
hit
of
with a
which, snip. Oh yeah,
He got snapped.
This is too early, man. We're still in 2011.
Okay.
This is still 2011, not 2019. I think is it 2019?
Something like that.
I don't remember when Endgame came out, but I know it wasn't yet 2020. I don't think it was. I think it was long before 2020, actually. It feels like Infinity War came out so recently, but I think it's at least 5 years old at this point. The point of recording, at least.
Right.
All right. Speaking of Cinemantras, though, do you have yours ready?
I do.
You do.
If there was one object that would give everyone the power of Xavier, what would it be? You know, like Mjolnir with Thor. He gets the power of Thor with Mjolnir. What is Xavier's Mjolnir?
It would probably... It would probably either be just like an average number 2 pen. No, it'd be a number 3 pencil because I am superior with art. I can draw hands. Oh. Yes. It would be a number 3 pencil, not a number 2 pencil. It would be a number 3 pencil.
So a pencil would be your Mjolnir.
A superior pencil. It has to be a superior
pencil.
Yes.
Okay.
The only number 3 pencil in existence. It will give you the powers of Xavier and allow you to draw hands sufficiently well.
The powers of Xavier would be a number 3 pencil. Got it.
Yes.
All right. And do you have a Cinemantra?
My Cinemantra. Alright. Okay. breathing helps me think. Anyways,
Does it?
from what huh?
I said, does it?
It does. Yes, you breathe in oxygen, and it goes to your brain, to your bodily functions, allows your heart to beat out some life-sustaining energy to boost some oxygen into your brain so that you can think. Which I think I used too much of that oxygen on using the analogy to instead of cinemantras. Anyways, my cinemantra would probably be all right. So let's say that definitely helps me think. Good job. Okay. Yes. Okay. So you have for a bridge, you could turn any bridge on Earth into a space bridge, like a rainbow bridge or something, like a rainbow road or something like that. Mario Kart reference. If you were to make any bridge, whether it's a real life bridge or a fictional bridge, what bridge would it be that turns into like a space bridge that takes you anywhere in the universe, non-fictional or fictional?
So
Bonus,
wait.
I guess. Tell me where it would send you.
So what kind of bridge would it be like? For example, would my bridge be a rainbow bridge? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm asking you to turn a non-spatial, or fictional bridge into a spatial bridge. What bridge would you turn into a spatial bridge? It could be any bridge, as long as it classifies as a bridge. Huh?
What location?
Not just a bridge, any kind of bridge. It doesn't even have to be like a full-fledged bridge, as long as it can be classified as a bridge. And what bridge would you turn into a spacey bridge that takes you anywhere in the universe or the fictional universe or something like that?
I would make. I don't know a lot of bridges. There's Golden Gate Bridge, but I lived in near that one once when I was 2.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, the bridge here in Crestline, because I guess I live near that one. And
that one affects me too, though, because I sometimes go over to your house through either your mom's transportation. That is a neat looking bridge, though.
That bridge, I guess. And it would take you to a video game world where you have powers and stuff. Like the power of Thor.
Do you see this face? This is the face of someone who is underwhelmed. I give you an 8 because I don't know. The bridge is pretty nice in Crestline. All right.
Okay.
I probably would have chose like the bridge to a song because it does classify as a bridge.
I was trying to think of something like video game like, but I couldn't think of anything except for Rainbow Road. But I feel like that wouldn't work because you just mentioned Rainbow World or a road, so I didn't want to steal that road.
Alright.
Plus, I hate Rainbow Road. Rainbow Road sucks.
You hate Rainbow Road? Oh, man.
It's like
Why
the
does everybody
hardest-
hate Rainbow Road?
It's the hardest
Because
track,
it's
man.
difficult is why it's so exciting, though. Everybody
No.
loves falling off the track.
Frustrating.
It's thrilling.
This isn't Diddy Kong Racing. I ain't trying to fly.
You're weak.
I'm weak. Just brat. Anyways. Alright. Well, where can the listeners find you?
I am Cryokeen Artist. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTubes. I don't have a Twitter. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't do anything on it. I've literally installed it and then uninstalled it not too long after. What about you, Father?
Well, you can find me on Dragon Blazer Productions on Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, and you can also find me on the TikToks. You can also find me on Twitter at Dragon Blazer Pro. And you can watch our YouTube page coming soon to a podcast near you, the YouTube page, where I'm slowly putting all of our back catalog on it. I just put Titanic on it the other day.
Wow.
And the Star Wars. And I fixed the Star Wars YouTube.
Nice.
Because apparently it was shortened. It was missing parts. So.
Thank you for doing that.
So part of it just has a picture of the title at the end because I couldn't find any of our video footage left because I may or may not have deleted it before I realized that it needed fixed. So I got the audio and just put a title page on it. But it's on there now. Yay, Star Wars The Phantom Menace. And it's all of its kind of entirety.
Yeah. Also, wait a minute. Did you give me anything for your Cinemantra? I said, your Cinemantra was like, what do you give me for my number 3 pencil? Did you give me a score for that?
I haven't given you a score. I have mixed feelings on it. On one hand, I think something drawing related really fits you. On the other hand, a pencil is a really simple object.
A superior pencil. It's a number 3 pencil. That automatically makes it better than the number 2 pencils. Because
so like
3
I said,
is better than 2.
Like I said, I have mixed feelings on this.
What's there
so
to be mixed feelings about?
7.
Give me an 11.
I will give you a 7.
Okay, that's fair.
All right.
Also, say goodbye to Jared and say hi to him because he, again, is probably under your bed.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Auf Wiedersehen.
Peace. Oh, once again, please, if you will, like and subscribe onto our YouTube page titled Coming Soon to a Podcast Near You, where all these wacky podcasts where we watch movies and review them go on. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace.